Hi everyone. Forgive my croaky voice. I've been on and off having the flu for about 3 weeks now. It keeps going and then coming back. So I just seem to be left with the legacy of a husky voice quite a lot at the moment. Hopefully soon it will go before the new year. Christmas. What does it bring up for you? It feels important to talk a little bit about this because so many of us can often feel like there is something wrong with us because we might not love Christmas. And coming to terms with, I suppose for me, coming to terms with understanding how having gone away to boarding school, it caused fracture within my own family unit, uh, has really helped me to understand and to not compare myself to other people. So, especially these days when we're full of social media and the television, and I was about to say those OXO adverts that there used to be when I was younger, but now it's the John Lewis adverts, the Sainsbury's, or the Aldi adverts with all these wonderful happy families and festivities. It can cause us to often think, well, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have that family unit? I'm aware of if you have children, now the world of Instagram, the social media, they're comparing themselves to each other. I've had messages of like, oh, we're not as fun as other families. All those kind of feelings that get thrown, which can make me think, oh, I'm a failure as a parent. So how I kind of understand it is that I didn't have a normal childhood. And one of the results of going away to boarding school means that your attachments to your parents and your family unit get broken. And it's essential they do. Because in order to get through boarding school, you need to have a degree of detachment from your family. Otherwise, it would be too painful. So, for those who really struggle to do that, it can mean that life at school is really, really tough. So, for most children, they get to a stage. For some, it might be that first day of term in their first year. For others, it might be after that first year, where they actually start to detach from their parents and to make the decision that they don't need them, they don't want them, and therefore they're better off without them. And what that can cause later on in life is that we end up not believing that we need our family, that actually we put more importance on our attachment to friendships or to other people than we do our original family. That can mean that we end up living far away. Also, because what makes a home is often more than bricks and mortar. So, if bricks and mortar, bricks and mortar. So, it can often mean that actually the environment where maybe your parents' family home was doesn't feel like a home because it's not where you went to school, it's not where you had friends, it's not where you spent your time. So, you have no connection to it. So, therefore, it will mean that you'll find your own place to live. So, it may be within the same country, but far, far away, or it may be abroad, somewhere else. You may feel that you belong more in a country that is different to your own than the one that you went to school in. And therefore, for many families this time of year, there's this real division, this real discombobulation. Nowadays, we have Zoom, so you may end up doing these Zoom calls. But there can be that understanding and kind of like to come to terms with the fact that you don't have that family unit and you may be okay with that. But just being able to notice, oh, if there is any melancholy or levels of grief with this, then that might be part of it. If you have siblings who live abroad, then they may have children. You may have children. Your cousins may have a disconnect because you never actually get to spend time with each other. And that may be a reason also why your family unit is different to other family units. One of the saddest legacies that I see from boarding school is the division of siblings. Even recently, I heard a podcast with Jamie Lang, who used to be a maid in Chelsea, and he was saying that actually, when him and his brother got separated, as in when his brother went away to boarding school, they never really got that closeness back again. And that's really common. Even if siblings go to the same school, what often happens for children is that it's more important to attach to your peer group than it is to your sibling. So therefore, that sibling can just be blocked. And I often hear from people who carry a lot of guilt about the fact that they felt like they didn't look out for their younger brother or sister when they were at school. However, it is understandable. It was a survival technique. Hierarchies in this school are so important, and that's often what causes that. And one of the sadnesses of that is, again, siblings, they end up just going their separate way. What's been wonderful actually with my courses that I do is I've actually had some siblings on the courses, and people come back together, and that's really lovely at kind of later stages in life. They may be in their 60s and they're able to talk about this and reconnect in a way that actually they may not have done since they were 8 years old. Um, so there are all those elements which may mean that your family Christmas is different to other people's family Christmases. Also, one of the uh, legacies, costs of going away to boarding schools is that we can find relationships really, really difficult, really hard to be in. And you might find yourself separated, divorced on your own, and that can bring up all sorts of difficult feelings as well. So that feeling of failure, not being able to manage it, um, myself included. I'm divorced, and those first few years after separation were really tough. Seeing all these other happy families and feeling that that I wasn't in that place. And those years where you have to decide who's going to have the children this year, next year, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, where do you go? Managing the year when you don't have the children, and then the year that you do. And that's still here for me 10 years later. We still have to manage that in a way, and it's difficult. It's really difficult being with that. Then it also is a reminder of people that who are no longer here with us, so family who have died. Lots of ex-boarders have very complicated, difficult feelings often towards their parents. So there can be a lot of loss there, a lot of grief, a lot of grieving for the relationship that they may never have had if their parents have died, grieving for never being able to have these conversations or to kind of make amends or to kind of repair that rupture that may have happened when they were 11 years old. Um, and so just being mindful again of people who are not here, that often these times of year they bring up these feelings for these things. So I suppose what I do these days is I find a way to make Christmas work for me. Last year I went to Goa. That worked really well. This year is not the same. But it's finding those moments. I say I'm fortunate. I am fortunate because I really like where I live, and there's a ritual down here in Hove, Brighton, where everyone goes swimming in the sea at 11 o'clock on Christmas Day, and it's become a really nice thing that everyone does. And lots of people go down there with their families at 11 o'clock, whether they run in the sea screaming or they just have a glass of mulled wine on the beach. But it's something about creating your own ritual that maybe is different for other people, and that's something that is important to me that I try and do, even if I'm not well. But hopefully, I'll be better in 2 days' time. To do things like that. Spending time in large families can also be difficult. I also just want to talk about that if you've got a day that is busy, that can be hard. Something that lots of exporters struggle with is actually being in the family unit, never having space to yourself, never having privacy. That was something that you wouldn't have had if you were at boarding school, and it would mean that your nervous system is constantly kind of charged up on the go, that you may find it really hard to relax when you're in company, and that you need solitude in order to be by yourself. So, a day like Christmas Day, if you're surrounded by lots of people, it may feel really overwhelming on your nervous system. So, give yourself permission to take time out, to go for a walk around the block, to go and get a newspaper, whatever it is that you need to do. To recognize that actually I get overwhelmed if I spend lots of time with lots of people all the time, and that is okay. So, really recognizing that however you feel is okay, that it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. That you may be someone who finds it really difficult. God, I could just keep going on playing. Like playing with children may feel really difficult. Um, Often, because you may have gone away to school when you were really young, it will have meant that you will have detached, you will have become a mini adult overnight. And therefore, you may find playing with your own children or grandchildren really dull and really boring. And that is okay. There's nothing wrong with you because we had to kind of cut off our own childish ways at such a young age. And part of the work that I do with people is actually reintegrating that part of us that actually knows how to play, because a lot of us don't know how to do it and we feel shame about that, and therefore it can feel really uncomfortable playing with children. I know that for myself. I had to go through the kind of motions with my children when they were young. I never enjoyed it, but I knew that this is what a good mother should do. So kind of just again, all those things. If you find it difficult, it's okay. No wonder. There's a reason for this. So please do try and find some compassion for yourself, and just take some moments for yourself, take some pauses, and look after yourself. Another thing that we may not be that good at. So, recognizing what your needs are, trusting your instinct, your intuition, trying to connect with your body about what you need, and looking after yourself, giving yourself what you needed. Um, our bodies can remember this time of year. They can remember what it was like, the school holidays, Christmas. I hear from people who talk about never really being able to enjoy Christmas because they knew the moment Christmas was over, the clock was ticking and it would be time for them to go back to school. So give yourself comfort, simple pleasures, whatever it is that you need, and take care of yourself.